Two aneurysms. The first one was in 2018, and I was being treated for what they said I had in my neck was arthritis. And I was going home one day, and I called my wife on the phone. I says, I'm getting headaches. These are really bad. So I called the doctor. He wasn't in, but his answering service says, go right to the hospital, and they'll take x-rays. So we went right to the hospital from where I was being physical therapy program. And they took an angiogram, and then they took a MRI, and they said, put him on a gurney. So he said, oh, okay. So they're taking me up to my room on a gurney. The doctor came down. He says, you have a massive aneurysm. I have never seen an aneurysm in my life in 25 years of doctoring. And he says, I don't think you're going to make it. And I says, okay. I says, this is where God comes in only. I need a miracle. And he said, okay. So when my family came in, he told me to say goodbye to him, which I did. I said goodbye to him, family. And they were very calm about it because I told them, if something happens, I'm going to see you on the other side. So it didn't matter to me one way or another. So I went into the operation. 2 hours later, they brought me down, and I awoke thinking I wasn't going to awake. And I says, I got my miracle. He says, I can't argue with you. So we celebrated my miracle with everybody around. And everything seemed okay. My wife, I couldn't drive yet, so my wife started driving me everywhere we went. And things came to a point one day that I says, I'm getting headaches again. And the people, the physical therapist says, well, you need to go to the doctor again. I called this doctor who was a specialist because the doctor that operated on me left town. He's down in Naples, Florida. And I said, well, what do I do? This doctor is at UPMC. His name is Dr. Gross. Wonderful man. He took me right away. I went down. He said, wow. He said, you got to get this operated on. I says, why? He says, that aneurysm is doubled in size. It was massive to begin with. It's doubled in size. And I had 15 coils of steel in my head. Well, they went through my groin, through my heart, into my brain, and put the 15 coils of steel in it. And it seemed to work when I came out. And I says, we celebrated a year later. It started getting headaches again. And I asked I called my doctor, and he said it was gone. So I says, could you recommend? So they recommended me to go to UPMC. And I said, who is the best doctor you have down there? And they says, Bradley Gross. He saw me. He says, we're going to take some x-rays and so forth. He did everything. And he said, stay here. Don't go home. So I stayed, went to the hospital and stayed. And he said that aneurysm is doubled in size now. And he says, I don't know if I can save you. I don't think you're going to make it off my table. I said, well, then this is where God comes in again. I need another miracle. He says, what do you mean? I says, he's full of them. He's full of miracles, endless supply. He says, okay. So he says, I suggest that you, this is the second doctor, suggest you say goodbye to your family. So I had my family all in. I said goodbye again. I says, if I don't see you when I wake up, I'll see you on the other side. So 5.5 hours later, through the groin, through the heart, to the brain, he operated. He was going to try to put what they called a pipeline between the two stents that were in the heart, or that were in the brain, on that artery that had the coils in it. Well, I closed my eyes and I says, I'm going to see you, Lord. I'm going to wake up in heaven. And I was at peace about it. I felt so good. And all of a sudden, I wake up 5.5 hours later, and there's my beautiful wife. And he said, I don't know how you did it. You did the impossible. I said, well, that's a supernatural protection that I've had. And he says, could we study you? I says, yeah. He gave me a bunch of papers. I signed all the papers. 17 doctors came in. They'd taken blood out of me. I think they took about 6 or 8 vials of blood, and I said, save me some. I got to live. He said, there's something in your blood, and we have to find out what that is. So they left, took all the blood out, but I didn't get a chance to tell them that the thing that protected me, the stuff that's in my blood, is because I had a supernatural transfusion 50 years before that. And when that happened, my DNA changed. If you ever notice anybody gets saved, why are they different? You're a new creature in Christ. My DNA changed, and they've already proven it with some prisoners in prison that before they got saved and after they got saved, their DNA changed. So we're talking about a DNA change of my blood, that Christ's blood runs through me now, all through me, and I'm a new creature. And that blood is the most powerful thing in the universe. Christ's blood is that powerful. So I am so happy that God came into my life in that powerful force of a supernatural transformation and a transfusion too, that now Christ's blood runs through me. And I'm tickled pink with that.